Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Apex India Community Office Hours 2020 Edition 4. Thank you for joining today evening. Today we have two speakers as part of the office hours. We have Ajay Periwal and we have Srihari Ravva. On the slide, you see Twitter hashtags, which we generally use as we promote, as we tweet anything about Apex or Apex in India. So please feel free to use these hashtags. Before going ahead with the agenda for the day, I would like to quickly remind you or just let you know that the hosted instance, apex.oracle.com, which is a customer evaluation only instance, has been upgraded to Oracle Apex 20.2 over the weekend. I'm sure most of you would have noticed this already, and we are seeing a lot of tweets and posts on LinkedIn, and somebody has already started blogging about this. So once you log into apex.oracle.com and get into your workspace homepage, you can see a list of new features and also known issues available on the page. Feel free to try out all of the new features and post your feedback, or if you have questions on the community discussion forum. As such, I would like to quickly touch base on what exactly are the new features that are coming in 20.2. As of now, we have on apex.oracle.com. So let me just quickly show you the new feature space that we have. So the first new feature that we have in Apex 20.2 is the cards region. In 20.2, you have a new cards region, which is a native region tag, which is a lightweight report region, and which also allows a lot of customizations. And then we have something called as automations, which is also a very prominent new feature. Automations typically you use, especially in cases where you need approval of specific requests, or maybe sometimes when you want to send email alerts and things like that. So basically a sequential set of PL/SQL actions. So this is all possible declaratively in Apex 20.2. We made a lot of enhancements to the faceted search, one of the prominent one being you can now have bar or pie charts for facet value counts, and you can also have facet groups or group facets basically, and you can also have input field type of facets. As part of report printing enhancements, we have in 20.2, we came up with native PDF printing or built-in PDF printing, and also Excel download, native Excel download for interactive report, classic reports, and interactive grid regions. And also we have enhanced integration with BI Publisher, and PDF printing now supports Asian characters like Chinese, Japanese, and Korean languages. One of the other major features of 20.2 you will see is REST data source synchronization. Please do remember that web source modules formerly are now called as REST data sources. So you can now synchronize your external REST service data to your local tables, and you can build Apex components on top of that. And you can have this REST data source synchronization either on demand, or else you can use your DBMS scheduler calendaring syntax. Then another important one is the REST data source connector plugins. Like you can have your REST data source APIs as plugins and use them in your Apex components. We have two new web credential types in 20.2, URL query string and HTTP header types, basically to have your encrypted credential storage, especially when you use API keys and stuff like that for your REST services. And another important one is a new Redwood Light theme style, which is available via Theme Roller now. So if you are using apex.oracle.com, and if we have applications from the past, so what you can do is simply refresh your universal theme so that it uptakes the Redwood Light theme style, and you can use your Theme Roller to refresh the theme style. Good number of enhancements on developer experience. The one prominent one being having the report attributes as well as your printing attributes, which is now moved to the property editor side. So to enhance the editing experience or the developer experience. And we now have Monaco editor, which is a VS editor as well, to have nicely built, nicely coding experience for developers. And we also have embedded code utility. Quick SQL will allow you now to save your data model, right? And we have some new items like the checkbox, single checkbox item type, and we have made some enhancements to the file browse item type. We have made enhancements to the text field item types, things like that. Couple of other miscellaneous new features is REST interactive with save report will use now static ID instead of the report name, save report name, and tree region allows you for lazy loading and refreshing without refreshing the whole page, reloading the whole page. And of course, last but not the least, JavaScript library upgrades. We have Oracle Jet 910 and jQuery 351. CK Reader 5 has been used, and we have the latest Monaco editor in Apex 20.2. Okay, so that's about a quick overview on the new features. So the reason why I have quickly covered this is that we are going to have an Apex Office Service, a global Apex Office Service is happening on October 22nd. So wherein you can learn these features straight directly from our team, from the Apex product development team. So it's at 7:30 p.m. IST. So please join in for the Apex Office Servers on October 22nd. And of course, I'm also presenting in the APAC Oracle User Group Conference, Oracle APAC, Oracle Groundbreaker APAC Virtual Tour on the same day at 1:30 p.m. IST. I'm presenting new features in Apex 20.2. So I just want to let you know. So these are the two new sessions coming up for you to join in as per your convenience. For today's agenda, we have Ajay Periwal, who is from Tata Consultancy Services, who's a fervent Apex developer with more than 12 plus years of experience in Apex. And he will be talking to us about exploring email template options. And we have Srihari Ravva from Oracle, who is going to cover get the most out of email templates, where it's going to deep dive on email templates. Srihari is with our ACS development and tools team and having more than 12 plus years of experience in web development and Apex. Okay, I'm handing it over to Ajay now. Ajay, it's all yours. And I'm stopping the sharing.
Yes, thank you, Chaitanya, for handing up. Okay, thank you for the opportunity to speak on the platform, and good afternoon to good evening to everyone present. So I just, like as you explained, I just tell about myself Ajay Periwal. So I have 12 plus years of experience on development of Oracle Apex applications. I worked across multiple domains, so covering almost all the domains for the Apex development. I've been an active member for many of the design and other activities. So yes, this is quite about myself on Apex side. Other than that, I have also been working on other Oracle technologies like forms and reports. So that are like side apart technologies which I have been working. Before wasting time, I just quickly start on the topic. So I would be speaking about email templates, one of the new feature which got introduced in Oracle 18.1, and this is quite a small feature but quite helpful, and it significantly reduces our time using this feature. It reduces our time to time for the development that we put for writing any templates using HTML and all. I would share my screen to this. Okay, let me share. Okay, so yeah, let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so yes, I just quickly go to the topics that we will be covering today. So first thing what we'll cover is how do we use this email template feature which is there in Oracle Apex. And post that we will also be covering on how to use sample email templates that have been provided by Oracle Apex. And apart from that, we'll also be covering the dynamic content part, like how could we add the dynamic contents in Apex template. Then that will be follow up with the demo session and the inline APIs and views which we have used. So to start with, on the email template, this is quite a good feature that it got added in Apex. And how we going to use it, I just quickly go to my application and show it what all the uses are. Just give me a minute, maybe this will work. Okay, so yeah, to explain this feature, what I've done is I have just created small application to showcase how we are going to implement email templates in our applications. So let me start with multiple steps. First is we can create simple email templates, and then we can create the sample. Using the sample templates we can create email, and then how we could leverage this two features and make it a more advanced feature and sending it out emails in a bulk. So these three features I'll be basically covering. So first thing is sending out email with just the basic we can create. What we do is I just created three buttons. I just start one email, sending email, and okay, while the email comes I'll just explain what we did for this, how we create email templates, and that part. Okay, so for this what we have to do is we can go to share component. Okay, in the share components we have option over here. In the other components it's called email templates, so we have to click on this. Once you click on this we get an option to create email template. So just to save time, I have created one of the email templates which I used for the button which I clicked. So I did this on this inquiry part. Okay, so what we have to do here, we just give a template name that becomes a unique identifier to know in which functionality actually we are using this template. And we develop the static identifier. So this identifier would be used in your APIs, the mail sending APIs, it will be used in that. And the email subject, we can put it anything which would be sent on all the emails. So this is just an basic email template. I am not using any of the existing HTML or nothing. I am using it. I have just put up a few words to see like how email comes be using this template. Okay, you can see in the header I have put a text, and in the body part I have put a text. And then if I go scroll down, footer part I left it blank. Just we can add something like your company URL or application URLs, those can be added here. Okay, and all other parts I have left it empty for now. And what we see at the end is how do we use this API usage. This is a very good feature, like you don't have to explicitly code to use it in your application. You just have to copy this, and then you take it to your page. So in this page one I have written it. I will show like how we have done it. Okay, so you see this here, whatever I copied, it's like just the same thing, you can paste it here, and the functionality gets ready. You are good to send email. This is just a basic part, but yeah, at least you are able to send an email with this small changes. uh, what we'll do is we'll see how that email looks like. Okay, how do I go up? Just give me a minute. Let me see. Okay, here it is. And you can see here, not this, sorry. Sorry. So yes, this one was the email content which I have put, and the mail came in this format. You can see here there's a little bit of header format got added automatically, and there's a background also added. It's just not the simple text that have come. There might be question like earlier there was a feature of sending email through page process itself. How is it different from that and writing in a template? I happened to create one page for that as well to see. So in that case, what used to happen is there was no additional template. The email used to come as a text, and using email templates, the default HTML gets embedded, and the effort is not there. That's the added advantage in this. I'm sorry. So this is a basic email that used to come. So earlier it used to come like this, wherein you don't see any of the embedment in this. Okay, this is a difference that we see. So let's go back to the existing page again. Okay, so that was a simple way of creating it. We'll just move to the next level using the sample templates which are provided by Oracle Apex itself. So I just go back again to the shared component part. If you see here, there's an option. When we click on create email template again, there's an option in this right hand side. Some sample templates are already there. So what we do is we select any one of them, and upon click of the sample template, what will happen is there are by default template gets added to the or to all the front, like header, body, footer, all the parts. So then it can be modified as per your business requirement. It can be modified. I just give a more complex. See, if you see here, there's a lot of coding that you have to do if you have to write this HTML and have to put it in this way. So those things come by default, just the modification is needed. So once you have this at the end, if you see here, you'll again get how to use it, the API to send the email. I just copy this part. I just copied this part and I have put it into, again, I went to page and I put it into a page process, kind of use a email templates. So I used the email template alert over there. So this was a sample which we took it from there, and I've just added the values over here to test it out. Okay, now if we send it, let's see how it will come. So I just send this one. Okay, so mail might be in my mailbox. I just give me a minute again. I don't know how we go up on this, but there should be some way of doing it. Okay, let's see what we have. So we have this one. You see here. I'm sorry for the switch. I don't know. I'm a little bit confused on this how it goes up. But yeah, if by using that part, by using just the template and adding few values, if you see the mail template comes in a proper way, we don't have to do additional effort and all. It all comes aligned, and the UI list and all those things are pre-populated. At the below you can see, you can also add your links, like the application links or the page links, or approval links could be added over here. Okay, one of the way this is nice. So this what we do is I just go back and let's go to the third part. Oh, sorry, okay, yeah, this has happened like with using the email templates we covered. Now we come to the topic of how do we add a dynamic content. So when I say dynamic content, that means using pre-populated values from the page or from the database table, so that it could be a dynamic email wherein if you want to send content, it could change based on your selection in the selection of your primary ID. So how we do it is we just happen I just open this again. If you see here, the code which was written, let me just pull back myself on this. Sorry, missed it earlier on this. And let's go to alert again. So if you see in this particular code, what we have done is to make it a dynamic content. You can see we have put in an order date, and then with the hash we are trying to fetch the date of it. So this way we can take the dynamic content out of it, and whenever we are sending email, it can be based on your selection or based on your requirement, the mail could be sent. So to this, once we add to this dynamic content, this can be configured from your page when you are trying to add that API, when you are calling the API actually. Okay, so I have, these are the dynamic contents. How do we add dynamic content? This is a method of dynamic content. I would cover that part as well, how we add it. But for now, what I did is, as I was trying to just showcase the template, the sample template. I didn't do a dynamic, but here in this case, we can add page items and or the database columns to make it a dynamic one. Okay, moving from this, I let's go and see like how we can send multiple emails based on the selection or based on your query where clauses. We have an option of sending bulk emails at a one time. So how we do it is, suppose I have these two tables where you can see there are few customer names. I'll say employee, not the customer names, and there are few orders or few items which are there in the store. So these are store numbers, these are the item numbers, and these are the customers. They are mapped to one each other. What I have to do is for particular employee, for particular customer, I need to send out an email that in electronics there's something have come for so and so location. So in that case, what we do is we I can just start this, at least send bulk details on single click. There would be all these 14 emails. There are 14 records in this, so 14 emails would be going in one shot. And on the background, what I have done is I have just written a simple PL SQL so that this could be actually achieved. Okay, so if you see here, I was talking about the dynamic content. So dynamic content is nothing but what we do is we are trying to I'm using it a database column here. So, and you see here this one and all, these this will go and get fit into the what do you say, the template which we created. And accordingly this value will be the mail will be sent. Okay, so I just I'll go back and show you on this how the template is looking like. This little bit reduced number of columns. So let me go back on the templates. So you can see here we have the placeholders, the name placeholder and the data placeholders here. So accordingly the data gets mapped and then the mail gets sent. Okay, so let me just open my email and see like how many emails we have received it for that. So you can see all 14, and so I did some testing earlier, so it looks like 42. Or we Yeah, so you can notice here like with the name you can see like there are, I don't have multiple email addresses, so I could not send it to different emails, so I have just sent it to one email only. But yeah, from the name we can make out like there were multiple emails sent based on the email address. Okay, so yes, this no, like no doubt this is a very effective way of at least arranging your emails requirement into your application and using it within the application. And this one template for my in my demo I have covered only for one scenario, but the same template could be used in multiple places. So it also saves time for the development. I don't have to go and recode everything. It could be done in a quicker way. Okay, after this let me just go back to my slides and let's see. Okay, um, okay, so yes, with this session what I was trying to like educate was on the part of how email templates are created, the basic templates and all those things are created. How do we add a dynamic content? So we might be interested in knowing like what goes in the background, how things are done, and how you could check your status of emails. Okay, if you have to do some further enhancements. So these are some high level important APIs that we could look into. The Apex Mail is the main one, is the important one which actually sends the email. There are multiple procedures inline in this. The dot send, dot push queue, and all those are the frequently used ones. So that actually sends the email, which we saw in the code as well. I was trying to call this. Apart from that, you can also see your mail queue, like to whom the mails are being sent. That could be done from apex mail underscore queue view. And the logs could be checked. So queue would have the data which are supposed to be sent, and logs will be the one where all the emails sent would have the detail. Okay, this is a new view which got added in 18, the templates. In this particular view, you can see what all templates are created in your applications and what you can make use of it. So yes, that's what that was I wanted to cover on the basic how we create email templates. Any questions? Over to you, Chaitanya.
Sure, Ajay, thank you so much for the nice presentation. So I have a couple of questions. Would you like to take one or two of them, and then we'll hand it over to Srihari?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the questions is, can you specify a unique from to email address? Can you specify the unique from to in email address? That's what the question is.
There is no constraint with that specifying unique from and to, because while that's the example which I was showing, like my email address was a duplicate one wherein I was using it. So specifying a unique, there's no validation, but yeah, that you could explicitly do it.
Sure. Okay, so and one more question is, can we add attachments in email template? Any inbuilt option?
Yes, we do have option of adding attachments in the sense those attachments would be from the reports, like uh, suppose in one of your table you have content and you want to add that particular table content, then probably you can easily add the attachments.
Right. Okay, so I think we can save the remaining questions towards the end of the session or once Hari is done.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Ajay. And then we'll invite Srihari to take on.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Um, Hello everyone, good evening. Myself is Srihari Ravva. I have over 12 years of experience in Oracle Apex. Currently, I am working as a principal developer in ACS Systems and Tools department inside Oracle. And thank you, Ajay, for the introduction. So let me start sharing my screen. So let me start the presentation. Yeah. So in this session, I'm going to explain below points. What Ajay has shown is we create the email template and with some substitution strings, and using these substitution strings, we can replace the data dynamically. However, in some cases, we may have to display the data conditionally. For example, let us say we are sending the product details. In the product details, some sections are only available for some products, not for all the products. So in such cases, do we go with creating multiple templates, or can we manage it with the same template? So if you are going with multiple templates, for each condition, you may have to create a separate template. So that way it will be more coding effort. Even the maintenance will be difficult going forward. So the second example, the second point I'm going to discuss is including images. So can we also include images which we are sending using the email templates? So is that possible? So that is the second point which I'm going to discuss. And the third one is tabular data. So as we have seen, the email templates, we just give the substitution strings, which means that we just replace the substitution strings with the values. But what if you want to include, let us say, tabular data, which has more than one row, right? It could be 2 rows, 3 rows, we don't know. So how can we do that? Is it possible with the Oracle Apex email templates? So yeah, it is possible with a little bit of coding. We will see that, how we can do that. And again, finally, the tabular data with images. So can we do that, including images and the tabular data combination, right? So these are the 4 topics I'm going to touch upon today. And before going to that, I would like to quickly see these points. Um, in general, with respect to email templates, when you are talking about the substitution strings, so by default, Apex escapes the reserved characters for HTML. For example, in your PL/SQL code, if you're sending HTML, then that HTML won't be rendered as HTML. So Apex will do escaping for you. So if you want that to be rendered as HTML, you need to do escape filter called raw. So you need to specify substitution string and the exclamation mark and the raw or AW. Then it won't escape anything. Basically, whatever value you are giving, that exact value it will put in the output email. And the other escape string I would like to escape filter I would like to talk about is attr. So if you want to use the value what you are sending from the code as an attribute, maybe for a style attribute or maybe as a image source, right? In those cases, you can use this syntax. So there are also other escape filters, for example, for JavaScript, and also there are for HTML, for example, also there. So those are, you can refer the documentation, but today we are going to use these two. So with that, I will go to the demo part. So let me click on escape and yeah, so this application I have built. So let me log in. Yeah, so here is the conditional display. So here the requirement is very simple. So when we select any employee, so if the employee is if the employee job is salesman, then we want to display the commission. Other than that, we want to hide this commission. So let us go here, salesman. Right, for this he has a commission, so we want to include the commission. If employee is Adam, then we don't want to display that in the we all know how to do it in Apex, but how can we do that in the email templates, right? So let us see how we can do that. So there are two approaches which we can use that. One approach is using CSS. So first review the template. Okay, so this is the template code. So until here, there is nothing great. This is the same template what Ajay has already discussed. So we have some labels and the substitution strings. And we are talking about the commission. So this commission row, this row should be conditionally displayed. So it's only displayed for the salesman, but it is hidden for other employees, right? So for that, what I have done for this TR, basically the table row, I have added a style. And for this style attribute, I have added another substitution string called com style. And here, since it is an attribute, I'm using the attribute escape filter. And then I have this data which is inside this inside this row, right? Other than this, there is nothing special. And let us go to this page. What is happening in this page? Yeah. So here, let me take this code. So this is the PL/SQL code which is sending the email. So here for the selected employee, for the given email address, I'm just triggering the email. So then I'm taking the employee details. Then I'm using the substitution strings to replace it. So we have seen one syntax which is already given here in the email template, and also Ajay has explained that. So you can use this syntax in order to send substitution strings. But when you are working in real world examples, it could be several substitution strings, right? And you may need to do some calculations, if else conditions. So that times, if you're directly using this approach, here the code will become little unmaintainable. You need to maintain everything here in this concatenation. Instead, there is also another way how you can do it. So here, what I'm doing, I'm just initializing the JSON output, and then I'm opening the object. And after that, for each substitution string, I'm writing the value. So here, if you see, so this is the application link, this is the another substitution string, this is another substitution string, right? And there was also one question in the Q&A, how can we send the URL? I don't want to hard code, right? So this is the syntax, how we can use it. So this gives you the instance URL, and this gives you the remaining URL for the particular page. In my case, every time I'm just linking it to page 1. Okay. Yeah, so let us go to conditional part. So here, if you see this style attribute, I'm saying, hey, if the employee is salesman, then there is no style required. If you see here, our email template, so we are trying to conditionally hide and show the commission, right? So this is our row. So here is the style attribute. So what I'm doing, if the employee job is salesman, I'm making it null. If employee is anyone other than salesman, then I'm using display none. So for anyone other than salesman, this will be display none. So here this style will be become display none. So in that case, this for any other employee who is not salesman, this row will be hidden. So this way we can use the same email template in order to achieve multiple cases. So this is not, I'm not saying that you create only one email template for all your use cases. No, for a specific use case, again, based on the business conditions, we may have to hide and show things, right? In those cases, instead of going for different email templates for different use cases, you can create one email template, which is easily maintainable. So let us see the email which is generated using this. Okay, let me see that. So this is the email which is generated from that. So as we can see, in this case, the employee is a clerk. He is not a salesman. So the record is hidden. But this approach, what I have discussed, has some issue, especially with the Microsoft Outlook client. So what happens if I say here, and if I click on reply, and if you scroll here, and you can see actually the commission column, which is actually hidden, is displayed. Okay, so you need to test with your email client what your customer is using, if this is approach is working fine or not. So there is another approach which we can use to achieve the same technique. So that is based on the commenting section, which is very similar. So let me show you that. Okay, so let me scroll down to the commission. So here I'm using a different technique. So now in this case, I just have a table row. Inside that, as usual, I have a label and the data placeholder or substitution string. And this is the entire block which I want to hide and show conditionally, right? So in these cases, what I have done, I have added two substitution strings, basically commission begin and commission end. And in this case, what I'm going to do, I'm going to dynamically set this to begin the comment and end the comment in the HTML style. So the comment will be displayed for all other job code other than salesman. For salesman, this will be null. So this row will be displayed. So let us see the code again, how we send the email using this approach. So everything is same, basically copy paste of the code which we discussed. The only difference here is when the job is not equals to salesman, that is when we want to hide, then what I'm doing, I'm setting these substitution strings to begin the comment and end the comment. So what happens, this piece of code for anyone other than a salesman, this will become commented, right? So this entire piece is hidden. So if you see this email generated using this approach, right? So this is the email generated for the same employee clerk. And if you try now to use a reply, and if you scroll down, right? So this is working. Again, this is working for Outlook. So I am explaining two approaches. So you test with the target email clients, and you can choose one of the approach which is working for your system. Or maybe you can even combine both. Okay, so let me go to the next one, including images. So here the requirement is I have selecting a product. So this product has product name, description, category as a normal text, but I also want to display this image inside the product. For example, if you're ordering something from Amazon or Flipkart, right, you may also receive the product image along with the details in the order confirmation. So how can we do that? So there are several ways to do this. So if the image is already stored in a web server or maybe a images server as a physical file with the specific URLs, in that case it is easy, right? You just refer that and in the image tag and you use that. But what if the images are stored in the database? Then how can we show them in the email, right? So for that, I am just trying to show you a workaround how we can do that. So let me go to page 999. So this is again a page which I have created, and this page I have specified this as public, which means that to access this page nobody needs any authentication. And here I have created a region. I'm accepting the product ID. And what this page basically do, for this given product ID, it gives you the image, that respective product image. So that is happening here in the before header in the process. So I have a code. So what this is doing, it is taking the product details from the product table, and it is setting the headers, and it is downloading that image and it is displaying. After that, I'm just stopping the engine. So what I'm doing here, I'm using this page as a dummy source to download my images. Okay, so if I pass product ID for this page, and then this page gives me the image as a downloadable format, and this URL with this product ID, I can use it as a source for my images. Okay, now let me show you the template how I'm doing this. Then I will go back to the code. So here, if I say including images, let me go here. These are the product details. Again, nothing special here. Labels on the substitution strings. I will go to the image one. So this is the one row where I'm displaying the image. So here you see the image tag, and I have added the one substitution string called product image URL. And since it is a HTML attribute, again I'm using this escape attribute escape filter. Yeah, so now in the front end, when I'm calling the code, I will pass this URL. So let us see the code behind this. Yeah, so let me go here. So this is the code to send email along with the image. So this code is very similar to what we have seen again. So there is nothing special. I will just go to the image part. So here, what we are trying to get the image. So I'm based on the product ID, I am trying to get the product image URL. So here, this gives me the instance URL, and this gives me the specific page URL. So in my case, I need to get the page number 999. And while I'm trying to get the page number 999, I also want to set this product ID so that this gives a specific product URL for us. And that's it. So this image URL, and I'm passing it as a product image URL substitution string here. And then this URL will be replaced here in the image tag. So let me see this, show you the example how we will receive email in this case. Right, so this is the sample email which has the product details, and you can see this product image. And here, this image is not part of the email. So this is directly downloading from our Apex application, the public page 999. However, this approach is not working in email clients like Gmail and Yahoo Mail, but it is working when this image is actually stored in some image server. Let us say you have a static image server where you are storing all the images, and you only store the images path in your table. So in that cases, it is working perfectly fine. But in the cases like how we discussed, it is not working. So again, for your email client, you need to choose which option is working. And there are other approaches using which you can include the emails in your normal emails or in the email templates. So that are discussed in the blog here. So in the presentation, I have listed all the links. So you if you get the presentation, you can see all this link details. Okay, so let me go to the next one. And yeah, so before going to the next one, I would like to quickly switch back to the presentation. So yeah, let me swap the presentation. So yeah, so as we have seen in Apex email templates, so we have substitution strings, and the substitution strings we are replacing the values. But what if you want to send a table or data which has like a table and multiple rows? So for these cases, you can still do that. You can still achieve it using the email templates. So for this, um, I have written a generic package which is hosted in the GitHub. So you can download this. So what this will basically do is, you just specify the configuration, you just configure it, and it will take care of the rest for you. For example, in this case, I'm using Apex util wrap send email. It is basically from that package, and this has all the parameters same as Apex mail.send. It only has one additional parameter, that is called p table placeholders. So this is a this accepts a JSON array. So it's a JSON object with the array tables, and each array, basically each element in this array represents one table or data. So in this example, I just want to include the employee data. So this is a substitution string which I will use in the email template. And this data, it has to get it from a query, right? So that query definition I'm giving it here. So this is a SQL query which it should use to get the data for this table. And this query has some as filters in the where clause, right? So I'm defining the bind variable. So this bind variable definition you can define here. So this is, it has one bind variable, so I'm just defining one. If you have multiple, you can define multiple using colon separated. Similarly, for the values, you can do that, multiple values. So this is the bind variable name and the value. And here, when you're including the email, so let us say your customer has ordered 1,000 products. Maybe it's a bulk order. It looks ugly including all 1,000 product details in the email, right? You may just include a summary, or you will just include the top 5 and give us the link. Hey, for rest of the product list, please click on this. That may take to order details page. There you will display everything. So for that, you can also limit the rows. Like in this query, when I execute, how many rows should I fetch? So you can limit that declaratively. And if this query is if this query is not returning any data, you can specify what message it has to display in the email. Or if this query is giving more number of rows than the rows defined here, you can also specify that. Okay, so these are the configuration you can do for this. So let me go back to the demo. So let me show you the template, how we use that. So this basically, this email template has nothing in the body. It just has the table. So since this table, EMP data table substitution string, this will be replaced by the HTML. So I don't want the Apex to escape my HTML. So I'm using this again, raw escape filter, so that all HTML will come in as is here. Now, how do I use this inside the code? So let us see that. So let me open the page designer. So this is the email code. Yeah, so here what I'm doing again, if you see here, this also has some normal placeholders or substitution strings. So it has a department name, a department number, normal substitution strings. So I have initialized the JSON output. After that, it is asking for department details. So I'm writing the department number and the name. And after that, for the selected department, I would like to include all the employees, right? So if you see here, that is what we are doing. We have this department selection. For this department, we are displaying the employees. This employees list I would like to send in the email. So now here I'm trying to build the tabular placeholders. So this tabular placeholders, this is not a same placeholder. So I have defined here one normal placeholders, and the second one is tabular placeholders. So this tabular placeholders I'm going to fill. So for that, again, I have started this Apex JSON initialize output. For tabular placeholders, it's an array. So I have opened the object, and after that, I have opened the array tables, right? We have seen that in the PPT. Then I'm defining the query. So this is the query which should be executed to fill the data. And I am also saying this query is actually for this substitution string, right? And this is the SQL query. And this is the bind variables and the bind variable values. And I just want to limit the number of rows to 3, just 3. The remaining will be not displayed. And when no data found for the query, I will just display this message. And when more data found, then we display this message. So that's it. Now I have two placeholders. This is the normal placeholder and this is a tabular placeholder. Then I use these two placeholders and I call this utility package, which is in the GitHub, Apex-util wrap send email. So what this basically do, we have normal placeholders and we have these tabular placeholders. In this tabular placeholders, what we are doing, we are basically defining it just has a definition, right? So if I show it again here, right? So it has a definition. This substitution string should be replaced with the data generated from this. So we have this configuration. So it executes that query and it generates the required HTML, and then it will merge these placeholders and these placeholders to a one single JSON object, and then it will call normal apex mail.send, and it will call this template. So that is what is happening behind. So all that complexity is hidden for you, right? You just call this, then everything will be taken care. Now I will show you how this email will be generated. If we have this, for example, if I selected sales department, right? So then you will get the email like this. So please find list of employees in this case, and this is a table which is generated. Okay, and since it has more, so we are also getting the message saying that this is the message we have defined in our code here. If I scroll up, right, more data found message. Okay, so this is how we can use this. If you, it is common practice that people will use a centralized procedure in order to send the emails. So you may already have wrapper functions on apex mail.send. In those cases, you may not be able to use this wrapper function again, right? So in those cases, what can you do? So there is a other way. So you have this merge placeholders, right? So what this will do basically, okay, so what this will do, so all the code is same. So I have this normal placeholder and tabular placeholder. So I don't call apex util wrap send email. At the end, what I'm doing here, if you see here, I'm converting, this is a placeholder, this is another placeholder to get the tabular data. I'm merging these two placeholders into a single placeholder. And after that, I'm using this placeholder into apexmail.send, so that you are still using apexmail.send, right? And even if you want to do attachments, you can do that. You just get the ID, then it will convert into a function call, then you will get the ID and you can also attach the emails, right? It is the same, it will do the same thing, but a different way. This is for the previewing template. So this basically, this apex util wrap has also preview facility. So if you want to preview how the email will look like, so you can also see that this is how the email look like. So this is again nothing great. I'm just using in the backend. There is a preview template or similar thing in Apex email package. So I'm using that. I think it is called prepare template. Yeah. So I'm using that. And images in the tabular data. So this is again, we are going to use the same technique what I have explained for the single image. So here I want a list of products along with the image, right? So how can we do that? Even this can be done. So let me quickly show you that. So here we have again two placeholders, normal and the tabular. And when we are filling the tabular placeholders, in the select query, I'm using the image tag for one of the column. And this image tag, I'm specifying the source using a get instance URL and Apex get URL, right? To the page what we have developed 999. That's it. So that will be rendered as HTML because we are using a raw filter, raw escape filter, right? Now let us see the email which is generated using that example, right? So this is the email which is generated. We have list of products, tabular data along with the images. Again, this is only working in a Outlook. If it is a static image hosted somewhere in the as an image file, and you're directly referring the URL, then it will also work in the web clients. Yeah, so that's it from my side. Let me stop sharing.
Thanks, Hari. So we have one or two questions. I think you have answered some of them in your demo. You have answered the question on application URL in email template. So how not to hard code URL in email template. So the other one is how to pass collection as placeholders in email template. Example, we want to print order details as well in the example you've just shown in the demo that we have done.
Yeah, so the idea when you're saying the collection, so the collection is basically more than one record, right? So in those cases, you can use this package, Apex util wrap. And in the query path where I have shown, you need to write the query based on the collection. So in that cases, it will just loop through, it will execute the collection query, and all the data from the collection, it will be printed in the tabular form.
All right, thank you. One more question is substitution string needs to be declared anywhere or it's direct column name?
No, substitution strings are not, there is no need to declare anywhere. If you use the hash and the name and the hash, then Apex consider that as a substitution string. And it's a good practice, you use the same column name so that when you are coding, it is easy for you. You just use the column name and the substitution string name when you're filling the data in the code. So it's a good practice to use the same name, but it is not a requirement.
All right, so I don't see any more questions. Yeah, one more question is when the emails were created with the template, the body window background white portion of the layout looks small. Is there a way to extend or increase the dimensions of the body and reduce the gray portion of the layout?
Yeah, so let me quickly show you that. So when we have this defining this email template, right? So by default, what will happen, Apex gives you here in the advanced section, it gives you the template. So let me quickly say this as load. Yeah, so this is the template which Apex is using for the entire layout, what we are seeing. If you want to do any modification, so you have the full flexibility. So you just take this and save it, or you just go to any website where you can preview the HTML, right? And you can modify this HTML to according to your requirements. So this is a default template provided by Apex, but yeah, you can modify this to make it to standardize according to your company standards or customer requirements. It is possible. So that has to be done here.
All right, thank you. So I think that's pretty much. Thank you so much, Srihari. It was a brilliant presentation demo as well as answering a lot of questions that came in. Thank you so much, Ajay, as well. I just want to quickly share my screen so we can wrap up now. All right, we are on time today. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in today's Apex India Community Office Hours. This is the link that you have just used to sign in. So please share it with your friends and colleagues who are interested in Apex development and who who want to get into Apex development and Apex enthusiasts. And if you have any interesting stories, success stories to talk about, if you have any demos that you would like to share with the community, or if you have any kind of things that you would like to educate the Apex India community, if you have any tips, gotchas, and use cases and things like that, please feel free to reach out to me or to Srihari or to Prashant, and we will be happy to work with you for the upcoming Apex India community office hour sessions. Thank you so much for joining in, and we look forward to seeing you in the next Apex office hour session. Thank you so much.
Chaitanya, one quick clarification. So someone has posted using the public page is not secure. Just want to say the public page is protected by session set protection. So they will only see the image which is received in the email. So they can't modify the URL to see the other images. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great